Okay, I believe we are live. Oh, have we lost Ellen? Okay, we are now live on YouTube and we are recording.
Hey.
Hello.
Alert from mail. The message masterclass audition that.
You okay, Ellen? You're on mute, Elle.
Okay, is everything apart from me okay?
Yes, everything
Okay,
else.
cool.
We are live streaming and we are recording, and we have one person viewing us currently.
Okay.
Ooh.
Good work. I don't know what happened, but that's fine.
No, we'll investigate that another time.
Another time.
Okay, so I make it 6 o'clock. We've got 5 people in the waiting room. Are you ready for me to add them?
Yes, please. Let's
Okay,
go
let
for it.
the show begin. Good luck, everyone.
Hello, everyone who is joining. Thank you very much. We will get started very shortly. It's Rupert here. We've also got Rachel on the line, who I will introduce shortly. It's very exciting. The first event in a new series by Look, which I will launch properly momentarily, but do get comfortable. Some people have submitted questions this evening, which is really exciting. So I may come over to people for questions, but do not fear if you have forgotten a question. I also have a copy, so I can put our question to our guest this evening. Let's see how many people we've got. We have got 5 so far, which is great. Feel free to have your cameras on or off, whichever you are most comfortable with, and also on mute if you can stay on mute to begin with. Or throughout the event, that would be brilliant, unless you are asking a question. I'll tell us a bit more in a second. I will give it another 30 seconds, I think, before we get started. It's good to see who have we got. We've got some music forum goers. Rona is here. Hello, Rona. We've got some Look mentors. I can see that Matthew is here. He's a Look mentor like myself. We've also got a student who I work with in Norfolk. We've got Harry here. So hi, Harry. I saw Harry last week helping him with his iPad in class, which is really exciting. So good to have you along for our first event. Give it 10 more seconds or so. People may join a little late, but that's fine. Okay, let's get started. So people may join a little later, which is absolutely fine. Here's my Zoom gone, getting lost on my screen. So welcome to our first event in a new series by Look. So this is the Look Into series, which is a Q&A series, meaning a question and answer series. And we're going to have lots of different guests coming up over the coming months. And this is our first event, and we've got the wonderful Rachel Starrett with us, who I will introduce shortly. I'm sure you all know, but Look is a small national charity. So we work all over the UK, helping everyone from primary age up through to secondary school and beyond. So we work with lots of different vision impaired young people and families to thrive. And that's through many different things, such as the Peel mentoring projects, where we mentor younger VI people, through to different events like this one. And also in pre-COVID, we did things in person, such as the Look Fest, which I'm sure will be returning. But we've done lots of different Zoom events, including the youth forums and music forums that I know some of our participants tonight come along to, which is really exciting. So I am Rupert, and I am a Look volunteer mentor. I also work in Norfolk as a teacher of vision impaired students. So I love working with Look. I think they're a brilliant charity. This isn't in my notes from Ellen. I just want to say that Look are a brilliant charity and do lots of amazing work with students. and me and Ellen spoke about doing a series like this, and we're really excited that Rachel has joined us for our first one. So I'm one of hundreds of VI adults, vision impaired adults, who offer support and advice and guidance to young VI students through one-to-one peer mentor project, which is really exciting. And as I said, do lots of different things on Zoom and in person as well. The Look Into series was inspired by our youth forums. It's a number of Q&A sessions, bringing chances for young VI people to speak to vision impaired professionals. So that could be, for example, tonight, a professional musician. We've also got another session coming up in January that I'll tell us about, but that will be looking into the world of acting. And we're hoping to branch out even further into the world of professional YouTubers, and maybe even kind of rock climbers. I've got a friend or a contact who is a blind rock climber, and I spoke to recently. Amazing story. So lots of different people who are either vision impaired or have no vision, who do incredible things. So that is what this series is all about. So launching the series with our first guest tonight is Rachel Starritt, who will help us learn what it's like to be a vision impaired professional pianist. So Rachel plays the piano. She's going to play the piano for us in a second, which is really exciting. And she's going to answer all our questions, which is really exciting. So thank you, Rachel, for joining us. Just to let you know that this event is being recorded to comply with Look's safeguarding policy. And we're also live streaming to YouTube for the first time, which is really exciting, on the Look_UK channel. So hello to everyone watching on YouTube. I don't think I've ever been live on YouTube. Just keep waving. So thank you so much for sending your questions in. Let's get started. If you would like to ask your question to Rachel later on, I'll invite you to unmute and ask your question. So I've got people's names. If for whatever reason you would not like to, or you can't remember your question, or the people might not be here, which is absolutely fine, then I'll ask the question. And you can also ask questions in the comments on either YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll keep an eye on them, and also in the Zoom chat. So if any questions come to you as Rachel and I are talking, then feel free to drop a comment and we'll come to you at the end. An easy way for those people using screen readers to unmute is using the shortcut, which is Alt and A. So Alt and A will mute and unmute. And also, if you want to access the chat, Alt H. Alt H helps you access the chat. So that's really exciting. So Rachel, I'm just going to say hello to you. Hey, Rachel, can you hear me okay?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Thank you for putting up with my long introduction. Should we get started with some music, Rachel? Rachel is going to perform for us. Rachel, what song are you going to perform to us to begin with?
So this is a mazurka by Chopin in B flat.
Awesome. I'm going to go on mute and I'm going to enjoy your performance. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel. I think most people are on mute, so we can't hear them, but that was awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm going to get started with some questions. So, Rachel, what are your earliest musical memories? I know that's quite a tricky question, thinking about when we're younger, but have you always wanted to play music as a job?
I've never really thought about playing music as a job because I've always focused on loving music. But my earliest musical memories were when I was in primary school. I first of all started out on a keyboard, but it was when I heard a real piano that really sparked my interest. And I was in a school assembly, and when I heard the sound of a real piano through the hymn singing in assembly, I got really excited, and I thought that was what I wanted to do.
Amazing. That's really cool. That's funny you say that, actually. I was with a student who is in reception. So he is 5 years old on Friday, and we were doing some music, and I took him to see the piano, and I made him feel the vibrations on the piano as I played, and his little face lit up because he's got no sight. But yeah, I feeling kind of the piano in a big hall is such a cool sound. Can you tell us about some of the venues that you're playing at the moment? What kind of spaces do you get to play in with your piano playing?
I play in virtually everything from concert halls, sometimes little rooms, St. Martin in the Fields, for example, I performed at, which was a good experience.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And
also the Royal Opera House.
Wow.
I've been in a production of the Royal Opera House.
That's
so
amazing.
I really enjoyed that.
Awesome. I bet that sounds really amazing. And do you often play in kind of a group, like a kind of ensemble or an orchestra, or do you play solo by yourself? Kind of what type of situations?
I play everything, but recently from my postgrad studies, I've had the opportunity to form a jazz ensemble, and we have been playing at Rec and Jazz, so a jazz trio, and also for various events. Sometimes we like just to play for fun, and I've also played at Sage Gateshead with an ensemble consisting of visually impaired musicians with different disabilities and members of the Royal Northern Sinfonia.
Wow.
And I am also a member of the British Power Orchestra, which are based in Bristol, but we get to do a lot of, I have a lot of opportunities with them.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh, that's really cool. So it sounds like you've got lots of experience playing all over the place. I'm originally from North Yorkshire, but not far from Gateshead. And I've been to the Sage. It's a beautiful venue, and it's on the River Tyne, and it's kind of this beautiful mirrored building. So that's a really cool venue to play in. So let's think about back to school. Could you tell us about your experience going through school and your time at the Royal National College for the Blind? And if you don't mind, could you tell us maybe a bit about your eyesight and kind of how much sight you have and how you found the Royal National College?
Well, I remember when I was young, I was premature, so I was extremely premature when I was born. So I don't remember what it felt like as a blind person. I apparently had some vision, but that eventually went because of the oxygen in the optic nerve in the eye got damaged. So I eventually became blind, I think, when I was 2 years old, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I've had very good support, incredible support, and I was at school, especially through music. I sang in a choir, but I also had opportunities through concerts, so I was able to play at concerts and also accompany singing in assembly. So because they understood I had an interest in the piano. And at Royal National College, I studied A-levels in languages, so French and Spanish. And also I got to meet musicians there, especially Cara Tivy, who was a teacher, who was a lecturer there. So, and I also won the Leonard Pegg Music Award in Hereford as the most promising student, and got to perform in a recital in one of their venues.
Wow, that's amazing. So it sounds like you had a lot of support through
Yes.
through school and the chances to play, and that's really exciting. So one of the things we do with the music forums, and we've got a few people in the audience tonight, and Ellie and Rona are here. Ellie is a pianist as well. She's a brilliant pianist in year 6, I believe Ellie is. I'm sure she'll correct me, but yes, she's in year 6. But we were talking a lot about the chance to play music at school, and I was a primary school teacher, and used to try and get music in wherever I could, because I think music is so important for everyone, but particularly when you're vision impaired, or you've got any kind of you're different in any way, or got any kind of disability. Would you say that music's been obviously you can't tell if you weren't vision impaired, but would you say that music's been a comfort to you kind of throughout your school, and obviously for your job now? Would you say music's important to you?
Yes, definitely, because I think it's about bringing people together and sharing emotions. I love the fact that with music you can share because it's universal.
Yeah, that's great. I would agree with that, definitely. Okay, one more question from me before we go over to I've got a question from Amelia K, just to let them know that we will be coming to them if they would like to read their question out. But my last question is about you attending the Royal Welsh College of Music, and you being vision impaired and needing kind of extra support. How did you feel going through school, kind of having support for being vision impaired? Because obviously some of the students I work with are in kind of a mainstream school and aren't in a school where there's kind of specialist teachers. So it can really vary depending what school you're in, how much support you get. But how have you found being a student and being VI?
I did have very good support. I was in a mainstream school, but in terms of the Royal Welsh College, I first of all attended the 4-day School of Music in Cardiff, and the teacher there that I studied with was a student at the Royal Welsh College of Music. And after I did my grade 5 exam at the age of 9, I was suggested by the teacher that I go and audition for the junior department of the Royal Welsh College. And that was when I met my teacher that I still have, called Alison Bowron. She's very good to me in terms of the sound production and working together as a good working relationship, establishing a working relationship through touch. So finding the technique through touch and the sound production, the choreography at the keyboard. So I have her to be thankful for. And also through her, I gain performance opportunities because she knows what my potential is, and we can always work towards that.
Brilliant. That's really good to hear.
Also contacts. The college have contacts for opportunities that I can be involved with to make sure that I'm always active in the musical field.
Brilliant. That's great. It sounds like you've got a lot of support there, which is really good to hear. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to go over to some questions from our participants. So Amelia K, and then Morag, have you got a question each? If you're happy to unmute and ask your question, it's okay if you would not prefer to. Let's see.
Yeah, Amelia has a question.
Oh. Hi, Amelia.
How do you find the right note? How do you find the right notes? Because there's lots of 3s and 2s and things that we've seen on a piano.
I suppose it's through experience, and because in the lessons you're taught that through the technique, and you're taught about what the layout is, and through practicing and through repertoire and through the technical ideas. It depends on the teaching style as well. So and also how to relate the notes through pitches really. I think perfect pitch I have, so that really helps me understand where they are.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good question. Thank you, Amelia. I think that's something that I always think as well, because I've got lots of residual vision. So when I play the piano, I kind of use the vision I've got to help me. But I think when you've got no vision, it must be so hard. And me and Ellie always speak about Braille music and how impressive it is that she reads Braille music. Morag, what question did you have one as well you'd like to ask?
Yeah, just how you can learn, like how do you read the music? I guess it might be different for different people. Like, so we would, Amelia does have some vision, so would maybe need things really enlarged. Is that possible? But actually, if you don't have any, how do you learn the music?
Well, mainly I learn by ear, because having perfect pitch enables me to do that. Because when you know exactly what the notes are instantly, you can just translate them as what the original key is. But I tend to use YouTube to access pieces. But if I'm actually performing a piece, I go over it with my teacher, and we tend to go over it hand separately and section by section. So 1 week I learn one block of the piece. Say if it was 2 sections, I learned the first section, and then we would record it with the fingerings that we discussed. So generally it's to do with fingering and technique rather than what the notes are. So I can make sure it's all secure in my practice.
Wow, that's amazing. So thank you, Mark. That was a really good question. So with your Chopin piece at the beginning, Rachel, how long would it take you to learn? And that was maybe 3 or 4 minutes. How long would it take you to learn that? How many times would you have to listen to it?
It depends on how easy the piece is. I think this one is I tend to sort of focus on what the harmony is, but for more contemporary pieces, it would take me longer. So this one, it would probably take me, if I didn't know it, it would take me about a month, I think. To perfect it. But I played it before, so I sort of I sort of picked it up from the repertoire that I remembered for ages, and then took it back to performance level. Wow,
that's still amazing that you can learn it so quickly, so perfectly. Brilliant. Okay, so Claire Norton-Smith, if Claire is here and would like to unmute and ask their question, that would be brilliant. Have we got Claire here? Let's have a little look down. I can't see a Claire, so I'm going to ask Claire's question for them. So Claire has asked, what technology do you use to access written music? So obviously we've spoken there that you use your ear and listen, but is there any kind of technology like screen readers that you use, or do you mainly just learn by ear?
I'm getting set up currently to operate the Good Feel software that would enable me to translate print music into Braille.
Brilliant.
So I am working on that. I've also ordered music from the National Library for the Blind, but I found over time that not all the scores that I requested are available.
Yeah, so that's a good resource, but it's not perfect. Okay, that's great. I can also just to from a different point of view. So I play guitar mainly, and when I do play piano, I'll kind of sit down and get chords up. I do read music, but not as nowhere near as good as Rachel at piano. But I will use my iPad and different apps, and I tend to just use kind of magnification. So I will zoom in and make the chords as big as I need. But yeah, some apps are better than others, as with all accessibility. But yeah, great. Thank you for that question, Claire, even though you are not here. Teresa Bell, I believe you had a question. Would you like to unmute, Teresa, if you are here?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi. I'm a piano teacher, and my 5-year-old daughter is visually impaired, and I just wondered really how I can adapt what I've done for years to sort of help her, really, what it can do, because I was interested in hearing you talk about perfect pitch, because you know, even though I've been a musician for many years, I definitely don't have perfect pitch, and I don't have a very good memory. I very much rely on sheet music when I play. So it's your experience, I guess, is the total opposite to mine, and I just wondered what I could do to sort of help and encourage, really.
I think I would say, like, first of all, I do a lot through touch. I think because that really acquires the technique, the correct gestures through touch. And also when learning pieces, I was encouraged to play one hand and say the other, so that helps with coordination. Mental coordination, so it becomes easier to physically put it together.
So you would play one hand and almost be saying the notes that you should have been doing with the other hand before you can...
Like, just through syllables rather than just like what the notes are.
Okay.
The rhythm of the other hand and then playing the other.
Okay, that's definitely helpful. And I also had another question, which was when you took your exams, did the exam board offer an alternative to sight reading, or did they? Well, what happened?
They actually did. Yeah, they did an oral repetition, which is playing a sequence of music. So it could be 4 bars, and then the student plays it back. Okay, yeah. Would you have been given, I mean, I guess you wouldn't need to know what key it was in if you have perfect pitch either, but would they have offered that sort of information? Yes, they would, because it's standard, Okay, thank you. That's really interesting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your question. That's really interesting to hear how they adapt. The exams. I'm working with some students in year 11 at the moment who are coming up to their GCSEs, and we're doing all about adapting exams. So it's really interesting, really good to hear that even music grades can be adapted and need to be adapted. So that's great. How do you find your did you do your grades when you were younger, Rachel? I know Ellie, again, to use Ellie as an example, because she's a pianist. I know she's been doing her grade, I want to say 3 or 4. Ellie, are you able to unmute? Which grade are you working on at the moment, Ellie, if you don't mind me asking, if she's there?
I'm doing grade 4 recorder. I'm going to go into hopefully grade 2 oboe as well. And I've just, recently done my just passed my piano grade 3. Oh, Notty, can I ask a question? I'm just in the car. I can't find the unmute button.
Go on, Ellie. You can ask your question now because you're unmuted.
Oh, are your parents musical?
Well, I mean, my father just like sings and stuff. I do have grandfather. I do have like relatives in Ireland that I think my grandfather in Northern Ireland sings. So I sort of have inspiration from him. But other than that, most of my family are more sport and maths related. So I'm the only one that's sort of artistic.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Ellie. And Rachel, would you have any advice for kind of Ellie or anyone doing their grades, and kind of what tips do you find when you're approaching an exam or an assessment? I assume it's just practice a lot, but have you got anything else you could offer?
I would say that, yes, part of it is definitely it's the practicing, but I think don't be nervous. If you're performing in front of an examiner, I mean, I think the examiner is sometimes people can be put off by examiners, but actually at the end of the day, they're there to hear you and what you can do.
Yes, definitely. They're on your side, aren't they? I always think that.
Yeah.
They're not there to kind of make it awkward or make it uncomfortable. They want you to do really well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, let's see who we've got next. So Ellie, thank you for jumping in there. Rona, we had a few questions from you, Rona. Rona, would you like to ask a question? I've got one written down here, Rona, but have you got a question you'd like to ask? Rona comes to a lot of our forums as well. So hi, Rona.
Which one? I asked 3.
You did ask 3. Do you want to choose one?
Yeah, you can always come back to me, I suppose.
Go on, choose your favourite, Rona, and if we've got time, I'll come back to you for another.
I was going to ask, how do you learn how to play tunes on both hands that have different times? Because I'm learning to do that and I'm really struggling.
So both hands to play a piece, you mean, Rona?
Yeah, but the left hand might have a different time to the right hand.
Yeah. Ooh, any tips, Rachel?
I think if it's okay if I demonstrate, because I'm working on a piece
Yeah.
that's sort of like that.
Yes, please go for it. We'd love to hear that.
Again, it's going back to the saying and playing. So the first of all, the left hand has 4 notes. So 4 and 3, and then the right hand has 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, so how would you make sure that you both did those at the correct time?
I would say 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I would just like
That's so
count the rhythm of the right hand, and then I would go back and then repeat, but very slowly. And then again. And then maybe a note.
wow, that's amazing.
Do it from mindfully rather than just. I would try to do it mindfully rather than just playing it.
Yeah.
It would always be in my head when I'm
Definitely.
practicing.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Rona. Hopefully that helps, Rona. No pressure, because Rachel is a professional pianist. That sounded extremely hard,
That's
Rona.
fine.
So,
And I don't know if you are aware of this, but Rachel actually sounds quite quiet.
yes, that's fine. Well, she can come a bit closer, but thank you, Rona. We'll come back to you, Rona, if we have another question. But thank you. That was really useful. I've always struggled. I love playing the piano, but I really struggle with time signatures. So that was really helpful. Thank you. We've got a few more questions, and I should say Rachel is going to play another piece at the end in full for us, which is really nice of her. So looking forward to that. Harry, have you got a question, Harry? I did send you your question, but if you've forgotten it, that's absolutely fine. Have you got a question for me, Harry?
Yeah, hello. Do you have any tips for someone who wanted to have a career in music?
Good question.
I would say, I think music comes from the school. Make sure that the schools have good music departments and good opportunities through that. So for instance, I got to accompany the children singing in assembly, which I really enjoyed. Also social groups outside of school that would encourage music. So the continuous inspiration is really important. And also through the conservatoire years, they'll have performance opportunities connected to that. So get involved as much as possible.
Definitely. Just to mention, so Rachel mentioned a conservatoire there, just to explain that a little bit. So that's a little bit like when you're at school, you tend to go primary school up to secondary school, and then after year 11, you can choose to go to a college, or you can go to sixth form, and then you can choose to either go and get a job, go to university, or go to a music university, which is sometimes called a conservatoire. Is that correct, Rachel?
Yeah, so college is also known as a conservatoire.
Brilliant. So, and then you focus kind of much more on music there, don't you? So you can really,
yes.
Brilliant. Thank you, Harry. That's a really good question. I would definitely agree with Rachel there. Kind of just as many opportunities as you can. Doing things like grades is really good, but also, as Rachel said, just kind of saying yes and doing things outside of school, doing things inside of school. I went on a few trips, which were music trips. So I was part of a guitar group. Yeah, I was really lucky. My school did music trips. I think we went to Belgium, I think it was, in Europe, which was amazing. And we did a guitar group. There was a swing band. There was a choir. So anything that you get the chance to do is really, really good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's see if I've got any more questions. Have we got any questions in the chat? So Rona, you did ask another question about a piano teacher and if they were vision impaired. What was that question, Rona? Do you want to ask that one as well? If you're there, Rona.
I can ask the last two. So
go on, yeah.
The other questions I had was, we've probably answered this already, but I never got on with sheet music. So I just play by ear. Did you use it? But obviously you've already said that you don't use it. But my other question was, when did you begin to learn how to play the piano? And did you ever have a vision impaired piano teacher who was vision impaired? Because I've had the same piano teacher since I was 8, but she is sighted and she's kind of just learned from as she goes along with me.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Regarding piano teachers, no, I haven't had a piano teacher who is visually impaired, but she has a lot of experience throughout the way that we work, by sort of as the years have passed, she's established a lot of experience with the visually impaired side. So she's developed ways of working through touch and through the sound, what I can hear, developing my ears, what sounds the same, what sounds good, what sounds not so good. So
that's really
yes, I overlay hands on, so as she's playing, I touch her arms and her hands so that I focus on what the movement is, rather than only hearing the sound. So when I understand what the movement is, I can immediately, I suppose, emulate or imitate it, copy it, but hear the sound that's correct.
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting. So there's different techniques, and obviously a bit like Rona, you develop a relationship over time with the piano teacher and kind of work different techniques that work for you. That's really interesting. Thank you so much, Rona. That's a really nice question. But a few more questions. Got one in the chat from Teresa. Teresa, would you like to unmute and ask? Feel free, or I can ask. I don't know.
Thank you. Yes, I just wondered if you said about your perfect pitch. Do you think that developed over time with your exposure to more and more music, or do you think it's something you were maybe born with? Or I'm kind of fascinated by that because I say I'm musical, but I don't possess the gift.
I think perfect pitch when you're young can come out an instinct, but you can work with it to make it better by copying, or maybe singing a solo from a popular song and listen to it over and over again and sing it. So that's one way that you can sort of improve the perfect pitch. And then that makes learning pieces easier because you've instilled the copying and the learning a solo or learning something by ear.
Yeah.
But I was also born with it as well.
Yeah. Thank you. That's really helpful.
Thank you.
Teresa, I'm also very jealous of people with perfect pitch, so don't worry. I would also agree there, Rachel, like you say, focusing on music you really know and really love. Like that was something that when I started learning guitar, my brother taught me was you are much more likely to kind of really be engaged if it's something you really like. So it shouldn't be a chore, it should be really fun. So do something you like. Brilliant. So I think I'm going to, before you play your final piece, Rachel, I'm just going to finish with a question that Charlotte, who is the director of Look, has sent in, which is similar to Harry's question, but slightly different. So it's kind of top tips for someone to become a professional musician. So obviously you've been to your conservatoire and you've been studying, but how do you make the jump from someone who just loves music and studied it into someone who can become a professional musician, which means it's your job and you can kind of make money from it, and not just something you love to do, but something you can do as a career. Have you any tips, or how did it work for you? What kind of helped?
I don't tend to make a lot of money from music at the moment because the COVID pandemic hasn't really helped with live performance. But I think the main, I still have a love for music as a career, and I think the one thing that I can take from it is a positive attitude. I think getting as many opportunities as possible is part of it, and making sure that you have an open mind. Being willing to share ideas, have social media, which is important for today. It's not easy to have a career in music because of the hours you do have to put in, and that you have to juggle the different schedules. I mean the different practicing. But I think the jazz stuff and the power orchestra has really helped. Has really helped me. I think versatility, for our age, I think versatility is important.
Definitely. I think that's a really good answer, because I think having a good attitude and saying yes. And when you go and meet an ensemble, by nature, you're going to be with lots of other people. And then they may say, oh, I need a pianist for this. Would you like to do it? So it's kind of putting yourself in the situations where you'll be asked to kind of do other stuff. I think it's really important too. So thank you very much. Well, what we'll do, I will bring the Q&A to a close there. Thank you so much for everyone who asked questions, and thank you so much for Rachel for answering some really, really brilliant answers there and really useful information. So thank you so much. So what we'll do, Rachel, if you're happy, is to play, you've got another piece that you would like to play for us, and then we can maybe hear about how we can find you on social media that you mentioned. And then we will wrap up. So what song are you going to play? Would you like to play to finish off?
So this is an improvised piece, a Latin version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow from Wizard of Oz.
Brilliant. Sounds great. Well, if you want to get to the piano, and then we will, when you're ready. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Rachel. That was beautiful, and definitely can hear that jazz in there, mentioning your love of jazz. That was awesome. Thank you so much. So just before you you tell us about how we can follow you online and hear a bit more, I just want to share a comment from Justin. He says, thank you, Rachel. You are an inspiration to my daughter, Ashlyn, who is VI and currently preparing for her grade 5 exam. Thank you and best wishes, which is a lovely thing. So thank you so much, Rachel. And thank you, Justin, for that. And Teresa said amazing, which I would completely agree with. That was beautiful. I feel like we've had a free performance tonight, a free concert, which is great. So could you tell us a bit about any of your social media? I can post all the links in the chat, but is there any way you'd say that we should look?
I have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook profile, which is Rachel Starrett, and also a Facebook page, Rachel Starrett Piano.
Brilliant, thank you. And
I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and SoundCloud. So my Twitter is @Starrett_Rachel. My Instagram is the same username, @Starrett_Rachel. And I have SoundCloud, which is just Rachel Starrett.
Great.
And also a website, which is rachelstarrett.com.
Brilliant, thank you. And I definitely recommend I follow Rachel on Facebook, and you quite often post nice videos of you playing, which I really like hearing. So that's really good. And SoundCloud, for people who don't know, is a really brilliant music website that a lot of musicians use to share their songs. So it's not really it is a social media, but it's not like Facebook. You don't really add friends and post lots of things, but it's a really good way to follow musicians that you like. So SoundCloud is a great place to hear Rachel. So thank you so much, Rachel. I'm going. Oh, thank you. I will. I'll wrap up now just to say thank you to everyone for your questions, and to any young musicians watching who I know who are watching, because you come along to the music forums. And we're going to there's a music forum this Wednesday the 10th, which you can sign up to. I know we've got some regular attendees, but anyone who would like to come, it's every fortnight is the music forum, but we've got a forum every week, which is on a Wednesday, and it's an hour, and it's a chance to come together and listen to music and chat about music. So please do come along. Next time in the Look Into series, which this is the first one, it's going to be in the new year. It's going to be in January, so after Christmas, and it's going to be Look Into being a vision impaired actor. So we're going to move into the world of acting. We're going to have at least one guest, maybe 2 guests, talking about how to be an actor and their journey into being an actor, which is great. We're going to be chatting to a VI actor and look mentor, Ellie. So it's not our Ellie in year 6. Don't worry, Ellie. This is Ellie Warwick, who has been in Doctor Who and Call the Midwife. So 2 of the biggest shows on BBC. She is a VI actor who's been in them. So she's going to be talking all about that experience. So if there's any Doctor Who nerds, which I'm sure there will be, you can come along and we can ask lots of questions. And the best way to stay in the loop about the next Look Into event is through our website. So you can sign up to our newsletter, which is on the website, which is look-uk.org. And also please do find us on Facebook, on Twitter @look_UK, Instagram, Look UK Charity, and on YouTube, Look UK TV. So thank you so much to everyone, and thank you especially to Rachel. And good night, everyone, and see you next time. Bye-bye.